sound speeds. And as a professional boom operator, I can tell you that the things I carry on my person and carry nearby on my boom caddy must perform very important tasks that are critical to my daily operations as a boom operator and be very light. If it does not meet both of those criteria, then it's probably something that can be farther away, like perhaps on the sound utilities cart. But those things that I keep near to me or on my person must be very, very small and must be very important. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you 3 things that I like to keep very close to me when I'm on a film set. The first thing I'm going to show you is something I've been using since 2019. Now, you look at this and say, that's kind of on the big side, Alan. Well, if you've seen my boom caddy, you know that there's a handle. This hangs on that handle and it's out of my way unless I need it. Now, what is this little bitty disc? Well, you may look at it and say, that's not that impressive. Well, what about this? If I were to grab it and start to pull it apart like that, does that give you a clue? Now you're looking at that and saying, I don't really still know what that thing is. Well, okay, how about this? You can go out with it all the way up to here. And when it stands up, it's even off this screen, because this is a collapsible stool. This little bitty doodad right here will provide you a rest if you need to actually sit down on a film set. Even if you need a very small, low-profile area, just for you to get off your feet for a second, because believe me, as a boom operator, I can tell you, when we're on our feet for 12 hours plus a day, it's very tiring. And as you've been doing this for a while, it's going to start to affect your feet. So you do need to get off your feet whenever you can. Now, something like this, you pull out, you go, boom, stand it up, and you could easily sit down for a couple minutes. When they say pictures up, you go booyah, and then where's the button? You collapse it, put it back on your caddy, or put it right next to your boombox, whatever you happen to carry. And this little thing right here can get you off your feet and give your feet a well-needed break. Right here, this little doodad right here is about maybe 25, 30 bucks, depending on the version you get. This version is the version 1 that of this particular brand that can hold up to about 320 pounds, and there's no bells and whistles on it. There are newer versions that can take up to 400 pounds, and they even have some that have charging abilities and USB ports and stuff into it, so you can charge up your phone if you really want to. And just so you know, I am putting links down in the description to any of these products that I'm showing in this video. It's always a good idea to carry batteries on you. That way you're not calling in a sound utility to bring you something at the very last minute. Now, one thing that's very critical for you to carry is something like this, which is called a Storacell. Storacells are wonderful because if you, for example, use IFBs on something like Electrosonics R1A, then you're probably going to have to carry with you 9-volt batteries, either lithiums or rechargeables, maybe even alkalines, depending on what your needs are. And something like this is going to keep all of them together, but keep the terminals separate. Now, if you were to keep AA batteries on you, for example, you may say, well, I can just keep those in my pocket. Well, the thing is, listen, that right there is going to be an issue if you're going to have all of these batteries in your pocket. Plus, if you keep them loose in your pockets, they could even short on something. Most likely AA's won't, but 9-volt certainly will, even if they have the little the rubber caps for the terminals. Those can come off. Now, something like a little Storacell keeps them all very small and tidy on your person, so you can very easily go pop and take out a battery. And this also means that when you are done with the battery, because it's used, and this happens to be a rechargeable, you can turn it around the other way so that the terminal is facing out, and that's your indicator that it is used. That's personally my system. Some people say, don't ever put them back in there once you've used them. Well, as long as you have a system and you use it, then that personally, I don't find a problem with it. But I always like to have my AA batteries in something like a Storacell with the positives toward the bottom, and then after I use them, I flip them around and put them back in there. Now, whether you're using lithiums, rechargeables, nickel metal hydride, whatever kind of battery that your sound mixer is having you use, then you could very easily keep them in the Storacell, and it takes a very, very small amount of space. Now, why is this important? Because you don't want to have them loose in your pocket where they can clink on something, or perhaps you keep them loose in a pouch. Then they're going to be lost when you need them, and you don't need to go fishing around and say, there's one. Oh no, I got to change the batteries on my A10 transmitter and I can't find a second one. Well, you don't want to put just one in there. You want to put both of them in at the same time. Keeping them in something like a Storacell, very quickly and easy, you just take it out when you want to and put them back in when you want to also. And then if you need to also, you can tell the sound utility, trade this out for me, please. And you hand it off and they'll hand you a freshie. Now, if you're using something like the Shure Axient system, then you have a down to the minute time on there that tells you how much battery life you have left. So in that kind of a circumstance, you may not need to carry those batteries on you unless you happen to get close to, or you're not in the habit of checking your battery usage every now and then, and maybe it suddenly dies on you. But you know your battery and your ability to keep track of it a little bit better than I do. So definitely keep in mind that the batteries that you carry on you are very important, and I highly recommend something like Storacells. They're not very expensive either. You can easily get a few of these things for only a few dollars, and they're very important and critical to carry on you as a person. The last thing I'm going to show you is this. A headlamp. Now you may look at this and say, Alan, I have headlamps. I know what this is. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple of reasons why this little doodad right here is very important. Now you say, okay, well, that's fine. It angles down, or you could go straight out, whatever you want. It has a spot mode. It has a darker, or not quite as bright spot mode. It has a flood mode, and then it has, of course, your softer flood mode, has red modes, it has flashing, all the little gimmicky things. But another thing it does have is it has this mode here. And I'm not going to put it in the spot mode for that. I'm going to put it in the flood mode. Now watch this. Boom. Wave in front of it, and suddenly it's going to go out. Wave again, and it comes back on. Now, you don't necessarily want to boom with this, because all of a sudden you turn your head and you're like, oh crap, it comes on in the middle of a take. You don't want to do that. But you could very easily turn it off, and it's not going to be bothering you. Now, why is this particular one the one that I find to be important for you to carry on set? Because if you notice, there is no place for a battery. It charges up. This is a rechargeable headlamp right there. It charges up with a micro USB. So very easily you can charge this thing up. It will last for hours. Then when you're done, it's a very green option. And it has a battery indicator on the top that tells you how much power you have left. And believe it or not, you can get, let me get through all the modes here, you can get 2 of these things at the time of this video for just about $16. So you can keep one on your charger, or keep one fresh all the time, and then keep another one on your head or on your person, wherever you want to have it. I find these 3 things to be extremely important in my performance as a boom operator, because I don't know when I'm going to need light when I'm on a dark set, and they suddenly say, okay, that's a wrap, and you're wrapping out in the middle of the night, and suddenly you can't see anything. Grab the headlamp, put it on there, wave in front of it, because sometimes you don't need to have it, sometimes you do, and you may have your hands free. So you don't want to go pop, 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 go through all the cycles and turn it on, go through the reds, go through the flashing. You don't need to do that. Just go wave and it's on, wave and it's off. And keep in mind that once you choose the mode you want it to be in, either the spot, wave, wave, it comes back on the spot, wave, wave, or flood, wave, wave. It doesn't have to turn back on and go through the different modes. It remembers the mode that you're on. And it is green, so that way you know it's still on. I find these things to be extremely important to have with me when I am on set. And I highly recommend that you invest in them if you have not done so. Remember, there are links down in the description if you'd like to check out any or all of these things, and thank you very much for considering that. Thanks for tuning into this episode of SoundSpeeds, and be sure to tune in the future for more interesting things that you might want to carry with you on set and sound advice. Have a question you'd like answered, or want to add something? Be sure to write it in the comment section down below. You can also make a suggestion for future topics of discussion. Again, comment section down below, or you can email me at soundspeeds@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on future sound advice.